So please take that into consideration. Okay, it's 11:15, or actually 11:17, so it is time to get started. Are y'all ready for this? Okay, let me put my mask on and come on down. I just am so excited to see y'all here today. Really very happy you're here. Are y'all happy to be here? Okay, thank you. When we're going to get started, I will introduce my 6 favorite panelists, builder and developer experts. Super grateful to have them here today. We're going to cover several hot topics, including real estate landscape, facts about our community, Painted Prairie, and how it benefits Aurora and your clients. Real quick, I'm going to pause and just a little housekeeping. You don't want to be that person, so can you just make sure you silence your phones so we don't have it going off in the middle? And bathrooms are out there, forgot to say, in case you hadn't seen them already, pretty easy by the registration table. If there is time at the end, we will open it up to questions from the audience. Please know that in this session, we are not going to detail pricing or product specifications. However, our sales associates at our models will be more than happy to answer those questions for you once you get over there this afternoon. So again, super grateful to have this amazing lineup of panelists, starting with Chris Fellows. He is the president of Painted Prairie. We have Chris Presley, owner and president of Epic Homes. Claire Martin, who is the, I had it in my head, regional sales manager. She's going to give me a hard time the whole time. I know. Regional sales manager for KB Home. We have Shannon Pachikara, area sales manager for McStain Neighborhoods.
Oh, Meritage.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
We switched on you. It's okay.
Shannon Pachikara, area sales manager for Meritage Homes. Nash Verano III, he is the land acquisition manager for David Weekley. And then Danielle Davis, VP in sales and marketing for McStain Neighborhoods. Thank you. All right, so as I said, we have a lot of good questions, and I really want to start with this top topic. I want each of y'all to answer this one for me. If you could be any kind of fruit, what would you be?
Oh.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Just trying to lighten it up a little. Okay. I need to get y'all some coffee, I think. All right. So whether or not you have heard the phrase neo-traditional, it's important to really understand what it means, what a neo-traditional planned community is, and how it is different or more beneficial for more than the traditional master planned community. So we'll start with the developer, Mr. Fellows. Could you talk about what and why it's important to have a neo-traditional community?
Okay, so neo-traditional communities, as a lot of you know, it's kind of a new movement that's a look to the past of what made neighborhoods really cool and really successful in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and what changed during suburbanization of America that kind of took some of the lifeblood away from communities. That's really kind of where it started. But as that look was taken, and there were a couple people who were leaders in the field, Peter Calthorpe was one of them. Peter Calthorpe happened to be the land planner at the project formerly known as Stapleton, and was also the land planner at Painted Prairie. But neo-traditional planning is really about placemaking, and it's about making sure that as you create a community, you're really creating a special place. And it starts with the streetscape. So it starts with having a welcoming street that looks really good and feels safe. And then the streets have to have important connectivity for cars, for pedestrians, for bicyclists. And then the connectivity needs to be going to somewhere special. So you'll notice at Painted Prairie that the streets are a little narrower than many places. Most of the homes at Painted Prairie are alley loaded. That's to get the garages off the front of the street and into the back. It allows to have a little narrower lot, which really creates a more compact feel to the street, but it's a cozier, homier feel. And we actually had to spend about 1.5 years to get the city of Aurora to agree to the custom street standards that are at Painted Prairie that are different than the traditional standards. You'll notice we don't have any of the privacy fence canyons that you find in many places. We don't have the big collector streets running through the community. So we have more connectivity. The streets are going to special places. I think if you get out and look around Painted Prairie, you'll find that we have an amazing park system. Pocket parks, micro parks and our big central neighborhood park. But the streets all lead to somewhere interesting, and it creates a really safe, easy place for the homeowners to get around, to be with each other, to spend time, and the streets are actually much prettier than you would normally find in a traditional suburban environment.
Thank you. And Nash and Danielle, y'all have experience at what's formerly known as Stapleton in that type of neighborhood. Do you want to speak to how you see it being different?
For us, it just made sense. Coming from Stapleton, or now Central Park, it made sense to just go down 10 minutes down the road. And being down here with Chris at Painted Prairie has just been fantastic. You know, one of the good things about that they don't really talk about is the actual high point of Aurora is just right there on Piccadilly. And you think of Aurora, it's generally pretty flat. But when you actually get out there, they've done a fantastic job with some great line of sight views to downtown Denver. He's done some cool things in the park with some cool chairlifts that direct towards actually the only 314ers that you can see with Pikes Peak, Longs Peak, and Mount Evans. So it made sense, and aesthetically it looks unlike anything that's out in the area. So that was just a huge driver for us too.
Nice. Danielle, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, one of the things that I would add about Painted Prairie, I'm going to date myself here, and I know I see a couple familiar faces here in the crowd, so I know that I'm not the only one when I say this, but I was originally, one of the first salespeople out in Stapleton, now known as Central Park, and I remember it really took some imagination, some vision to see what the community was going to be, and many of you took buyers out there at the time and sort of encouraged them to take a risk and, said this is going to be something really special. And I bet each one of your clients are thanking you for that right now. So, I really encourage you to look at Painted Prairie much like the very beginning phases of Stapleton back in the day, because, there's so many common elements, and I would really consider this Stapleton 2.0. And like I said, your clients will thank you for showing them this project early on.
And Chris, you mentioned something that was important on why Epic chose to build in a neo-traditional area.
Yeah, I mean, we had been looking at this area of the market for some time because of a lot of different factors. And the communities in which we build as a small builder really, for me, have to echo the product and the elevated feel of the homes that we build. And I had been looking again and hadn't seen anything that I felt parallel to that until I met Chris and started talking about Painted Prairie and seeing, what is going on out here. That neo-traditional vision was a huge part of why I chose to be here in the first place. The connectivity that Chris mentioned and everybody mentioned, the town center, and in having Alberta Development part of that town center also for me was built a huge confidence. Alberta Development, who's done Southlands Mall, the Promenade Shops, having them in and bringing this town center to this neighborhood. Is it echoing?
Echoing, okay.
Sorry. Just was really important for us in making the decision to come here. So.
Yeah, great, thank you. There are more details also in that community at a glance about neo-traditional and specifically about Painted Prairie that you can reference a little later. The next question was going to be really how Painted Prairie's neo-traditional neighborhood is beneficial for homeowners and the community, which they briefly touched on. But Claire, I'd like you to speak to the fact that KB is built in the other master plan communities around the area and you're in Painted Prairie. So speak to the difference for KB, your experiences, your successes, and the type of home buyers you're seeing at Painted Prairie.
We're seeing, and that's true, we're in a lot of master plan communities in the area. They're more traditional than what Painted Prairie is, but here we've seen a very diverse group of buyers. A lot of renters currently, which is great. I think people are taking advantage of the low interest rates and realizing, now's the time to buy. And we're also seeing a lot of first-time home buyers, and we have a really unique lineup, I think, of products, which is helping us obtain that first-time home buyer. So we're seeing a lot of first-time home buyers, and we're also seeing some move-downs as well. So we're capitalizing on those people that just want to buy a home and just want to get into a home in this market, right? And Painted Prairie allows people to do that, and I think there's a home builder for every home buyer in this community, which I think is very unique. We've talked about Stapleton and Central Park a lot, but it's similar to that neighborhood in that sense that there's something for everyone here. And that's what made KB Home really excited about getting into this community, where in other traditional master plans, you see a lot of similar products, maybe at different price points, but here you're seeing a lot of unique product lineup.
Yeah. Shannon, do you want to speak to that too? Because I know that was a resounding piece for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that Meritage as a whole has been kind of going through a strategy overhaul. And over the last couple of years, we've gone from being a second to third move-up home builder to more of a first-time home builder. We're trying to capitalize on those millennials that are getting out of college and really looking for a place to live. And Painted Prairie was where we really started to debut that product. We launched our townhome product, and I know we don't want to go into product, but it gave us an opportunity to reach a price point that we found there was huge demand. And what we've heard specifically about Painted Prairie is people really can't believe that they can buy a house in the 300s in a community with so many amenities and such a nice look and feel as Painted Prairie. So I echo what everybody's saying about Central Park. I think having the diversity of product, the diversity of price point, and the really convenient location really makes this a home run.
Yeah. Nash, did you want to expand any more? Because originally you had said
Yeah, one of the things for us in Stapleton that we kind of struggled with was that we didn't really have a lot of yards. There were a lot of pocket parks and a lot of yards, and Chris has done a fantastic job about implementing it there. And our product, not to segue into product, but we do offer a little bit of a yard that we can do to offer to our home buyers. And you talk about connectivity for everything. We do have a lot of first-time home buyers and also move-down buyers. But one of the things they constantly bring up is there's just not a lot inside the loop on 470. And as you look at what's going on with Denver and where we're going, Metro Study even said in that DIA 470 corridor, 70% of vacant developed lots are going to be within that corridor over the next 20 years. So we're just getting farther and farther out. And with the success that we saw at Stapleton, and now that we're seeing at Painted Prairie, it's, the best is yet to come, especially with the town center, right around the corner.
Could y'all hear that fact that he said? Some of it's echoey. Did you hear what he said about the I-70 corridor? Yeah? Good? Okay. Thank you for teeing up the parks for my next question. It's like I trained them. They're just like going right at it. So a lot of thought went into the planning to make Painted Prairie a unique environment. And so, Mr. Fellows, I think it's about time for you to tell us start off by sharing what you see as the most interesting components of Phase 1. We'll get to Phase 2, but Phase 1.
Well, I think the most interesting component of Phase 1, if you take out just the diverse product type and streetscape and how that looks, obviously we're really, really proud of the park system. And the parks were designed by Civitas in Denver, and Diane Lepofsky and Craig Vickers, I think, just did a spectacular job on the park system, from the High Prairie Park, which is our great big neighborhood park, to all the little pocket parks and the micro parks. The native grasses, the wildflowers, the different elements in the park, we're really, really proud of them, and we really think they're second to none in the Front Range.
Absolutely. If y'all haven't been there to go and see, the beauty of that piece I'm just going to add on is that they chose to have that highest point able for anybody to come and see the view. It wasn't just because you had money and could build a house on it, and if you haven't seen the view yet, I really invite you, and I have an amazing picture because we all know the mountains are a little hard to see right now, but I have a stellar picture. If you come see me afterwards, I'll show you on my phone. It's pretty fabulous. Ms. Presley, you had wanted to chat a little bit about your unique product in our Phase 1 that you have with Epic.
Yeah, so we actually designed our product for Painted Prairie because of the garden courts and the outdoor living that the Painted Prairie is full of. So we have a product that is designed to live toward the front of the house, to the garden courts. We have the only lots in Painted Prairie where every home faces to the front. And it was a challenge for us because we have a narrow product, and I had toured a lot of narrow product, not only in Colorado, but I traveled to several states, and every time I walked into a narrow product, they all felt the same. And so for someone who's as passionate about design and who, honestly, we built a company really around our design, that was quite a challenge to try to figure out how to make that epic. And I don't know if you've been out to see them. I'm so excited that you'll get to see them today, but I think that we really were able to accomplish that in the homes that we built out at Painted Prairie. One of the coolest features I think that we did was created a feature called Epic Elevated, and that's the opportunity to add an entirely new additional floor to a regular floor plan. In doing so, we have 2 3-story homes out at Painted Prairie that have rooftop decks and 3rd-story living. You know, Nina was talking about the views on the phone. You should look at her phone while you're standing on the 3rd story of our rooftop deck because it is amazing, the views. And that was something that just really even surprised me in coming out to Painted Prairie. I wasn't even thinking about those amazing views. And you stand on those rooftop decks and you see all 3 of those peaks that Nash was mentioning earlier. So just really excited about the product offering. And then we do things a little bit differently too, where we're not tied into any specific manufacturers. So even we have a wide price point, but people have the opportunity to really customize, personalize their homes, which is something that is a little bit unique.
I'll share a specific. They also put a bathroom in that top floor. What? Please, that's so brilliant. I love all of their products, but that is so lovely, and I will say something nice about all of yours, but that's my favorite part too about Epic. Claire, you wanted to mention something unique about KB's.
Yes, I don't work for Epic, and it's a very cool product. For KB, we actually have 2 product lines out at Painted Prairie. We have our traditional single family. So if your buyers are looking for something with that traditional front load garage and a backyard where they want to let their dogs run or go have a drink after work, which is what we're all doing these days, right? KB single family is it in Painted Prairie. That's that traditional layout for a single family home. We also have our paired product, which is very popular for us all along the Front Range. And most people want to call it a duplex. It's not a duplex. There's no shared walls in between. They have their own 4 walls that are connected by the exterior and the roof. So they really live and feel like a single family product, but for a lower price point. So that's where we're seeing a lot of those first-time home buyers is in our paired. It's also a low maintenance product as well. So that's really enticing for people that are either moving down or a first-time home buyer is our paired. So 2 different product lines. They both bring something different to the table. Everyone up here has a wonderful product, but I do have to plug this. Can I plug my? Okay.
Of course you can.
I'm sorry. I'm in sales and you gave me a microphone, so.
You'll like this one.
You will like this one. So at KB Home, we actually pay our real estate agents a full 3%. And that's on the final purchase price of the home, not the base price. So we really appreciate our relationships with you guys, and that's why we do that. And that's on every deal. So I know that sounds like a plug, and it really is. But Nina said I could say it.
Right
so.
now is the time to brag. So whoever
Here
wants
I
to
am,
talk
and
there.
I'm just throwing that out there. But yes, come check out our product lines.
Yeah. So it's y'all's time to brag right now. Whoever wants to go
bragging.
next and talk about what is unique about your product in phase 1.
So as I mentioned earlier, we are debuting our townhome collection at Painted Prairie. It's a beautiful collection. We have 3 different floor plans, several different building types. So they go from 3 to 6 plex buildings. So a lot of diversity. All of them have 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath with a 2-car garage. Those same Meritage features that you have grown to love with the spray foam insulation and the clean air technology, still very much a part of our product out there. We're very proud of it. In addition to that, we are doing what we call our Live Now series, and that's a series that allows buyers to choose their finishes in the office. So when they walk out at time of contract, they know the full price of their home. So for those buyers in the 300s or those millennials that maybe don't have as much experience buying a new home, that's very important to them. They don't want to feel like, I have to go to the design center or I'm going to have all of these additional charges that I don't know about. So we're really proud of that, and it's been highly successful. And we have inventory, so come on over, check us out. We can definitely deliver some homes this year. We found that people want to move, and they want to move now, so we've been able to deliver on that. You're up.
Nash or Shannon, either one of you want to brag on something?
Well, I'm not a salesperson. I typically just deal with dirt and water. But I will say that we do offer, starting from the low 4s, just a variety of plans, including a main 4 master. And like I was saying before, we have a lot of interest from first-time home buyers, but we also have a lot of interest from our move-down buyers. You think you have an idea what the market's going to do with the product, but then they completely pull a 180 on you. So we're really just trying to bring anybody and everybody in right now. And we are the largest private home builder in the country, so it kind of really affords us the ability to go out there and really sell ourselves as well as our products. So with us, you're getting, individual appointments with your builder, with your sales consultant, with even Scott, our division president. He's out there all the time. So you're not just buying a house with us, you're buying a home and you're buying a product that you're really proud to be in.
And for those three, if we had $1 for every time a buyer has asked for an open floor plan, right? You definitely get it. You walk into these and it feels open, no matter the square footage or not. So definitely open floor plans too. Machine.
Well, like many of our other panelists, we came up with a product specific for Painted Prairie, and it's something that we're very proud of at McStain. We see it as sort of our crown jewel, if you will, and in part because one of the things that McStain is always focused on is being sustainable and building healthy homes. And so this is really the next evolution of that. We're always trying to push the envelope and do something above and beyond what you would see as sort of your typical home. And so I like to use the example, they're like cars. All cars get you from A to B. I was never much of a car person, and then I got a Tesla. That was a different driving experience, and that's what I like to like in our homes too, is it's a different experience. So we put together a package called the Be Well Home, and what that is that all of our homes are Energy Star rated, Indoor Air Quality Plus, which if, health has really become thrust into the limelight these days, and clean air, reduction of energy bills, those types of things. All of that compounds to our Be Well program, which is, like I said, is Energy Star rated, Indoor Air Quality Plus, and Zero Energy Ready. We also do Solar Standard out at Painted Prairie. So one of the great things about our homes out there is that it's going to cost your buyers less on a monthly basis. I mean, everybody looks at the mortgage costs and, can figure that out, and you get tax write-offs and all of that good stuff. But nobody likes paying the utility bills. Nobody likes paying high water bills, those types of things. And so we're really conscientious about creating a home that's going to last for many decades, that's going to be comfortable and healthy for the people who purchase it. And one of the things, I've been a member of RE Colorado for many, many years now, and you've seen the transition through RE Colorado as it continues to try to add more green features. And the reason is because those are the things that will endure the test of time. Carpet fades, countertops go out of style, but the energy-saving features of your home are really going to be what matters. And we are aware that, not only do we want to provide the top-of-the-line product for your clients, but also something that's sustainable and healthy for the planet. So we're really proud of what we've come up with at Painted Prairie. They all sort of live off of a central courtyard so that you can take advantage of the beautiful outdoors and the incredible master planning that Chris and his team have done. So come and check us out when you have a chance.
Okay, so we've gotten some specifics about Painted Prairie and the products there. Going on a larger scale, Denver Metro is large, right? So you're probably wondering, what is so special about this specific part of Denver Metro? What makes it attractive and one of the brightest for the future? So again, I'll start with Mr. Fellows. Talk about some of the things that really make it special in that area.
Sure, and I love this topic. One of the things that you probably all know, but people tend to forget, is one of the things that drives new home sales, which then drives retail and office, but one of the primary drivers is job growth. And if you look at the projections for the next 20 years in the Denver metro area, the two largest job creators that are projected in the Denver metro area are DIA and Anschutz Fitzsimmons Medical Campus. Well, if you draw a line between Anschutz Fitzsimmons and DIA, it runs right through Painted Prairie, and the midpoint on the line is at Painted Prairie. Now this will benefit a lot of other people and communities in the area, because that job growth is going to create a demand for about 50,000 houses in the next 20 years. But Painted Prairie's right smack dab in the middle of that. And then there's other growth already occurring. You're aware of the Amazon facility, the Shamrock facility, Costco, FedEx, Kroger, Walmart, right in the general vicinity, within a couple miles of Painted Prairie. Just on those projects that are either completed or underway right now, there's another 5,000 or 6,000 jobs coming. So the demand for housing as a result of job growth will be gigantic in this area and bigger in this northeast quadrant than anywhere else in the Front Range for the next 20 years.
And Gaylord, that's a big one for us as well.
Yeah, and that's something that specifically, it helps the whole area. It helps Painted Prairie a little too, that And I like to tell people how intelligent I was that I picked the spot where Gaylord was going to be across the street, but that's totally false. It was just pure luck that after we were involved in Painted Prairie, Gaylord chose this location to build a $900 million project across the street, which is going to be a gigantic economic driver again for the next 20 years. So
We'll talk about that more in just a minute.
huge, huge benefit for the area.
And Shannon, you had a good point on the convenience and price point for what's so great about this area.
Yeah, you know, to echo what Chris said, I think that we are seeing buyers that work at the VA, they work at Children's, they work at the hospitals, and they want, you know, a community that delivers all of the amenities that Painted Prairie has, but also is a convenient drive to work. So we're seeing the benefit of that. And, you know, if you really think about it, there's very few places that are this close to the city, downtown, DIA, that offer this type of amenity outside of Painted Prairie. So it really is going to be the next big area, and the buyers that take advantage of it today are going to be smart little pioneers.
Definitely. Location, convenience, those are two things I consistently heard while talking with the panelists. And even today, Chris, Shannon, and Nash have emphasized the benefit of being close to DIA. What was really cool in talking with Chris and Nash is I learned a couple of extra facts that I feel you will find very interesting as well and beneficial to be able to share with your buyers. So Nash, do you want to start with talking about the vacant land evaluation experience?
So looking at it, and one of the things that we try and look for is TOD sites. So a TOD site is something that everybody wants to be a part of. And one thing that we haven't brought up today is RTD. So RTD is less than 2 miles away from where we are. And what they're doing now, and thankfully the A line is now open and working mostly, we can connect there to future connections up in Boulder and up in northern Colorado, all the way down to the tech center and everywhere around there. When you look at what these lots that are going to be developed, if you just take an overall satellite image of what Denver looks like, and I hate to use the word sprawl, but we are sprawling. And the value of where we are going to be in the near future, DIA is not going to seem so far out as we go on. Aurora Highlands has been mentioned before, and you've got everything out to the east that's going to be coming as well, and then you go up north to how well Reunion's done and everything, and we're just going to fill in, and we are going to be the next epicenter of this massive growth that's going to be coming over the next 20 years.
Oh my gosh, if you've been here any time, you've known back when you used to say Castle Rock was far away, and now it's Elizabeth, right? So it's bound, we're not going to be far away. We're not far away. We're nearby. We're convenient. We're a good location. Okay, technical. You want to share the bit of information you shared with me yesterday regarding DIA and your 60 technical piece?
Oh, on the noise?
Yes.
So one subject that comes up a lot, and it was, you know, there was some social media on it, is you're near DIA, what about noise? You know, and both, hey, we don't want people building near DIA, and what about noise to the communities? The federal standard for where noise becomes an issue is 65 LDN, which is a noise-weighted calculation. And DIA decided that they would draw a line at 60 LDN. And so they drew their initial line, and that went on. And then after DI had been open for a few years, they did a new study, and they said, we're going to take all the existing noise that has been monitored. They have thousands of monitors out there. And we're going to do a projection with the new runways built and the worst fleet mix that we could project. So all the new runways, the one that would be closer to the south and closer to Painted Prairie, and a fleet mix that is so bad that they don't even fly it anymore. Most of the engines in the fleet mix that were assumed aren't even in the air anymore. So truly a worst case scenario, and we're gonna draw a 60 LDN line, and we're gonna try and keep any housing away from being that line or closer to the airport. Painted Prairie is a mile. That line, by the way, is known as the Vicky 60, because Vicky Brownagel was the manager at DIA at the time. So the Vicky 60 line, which is infamous, is a mile from Painted Prairie. And that's a function of the contours of the ground. One of the things that helps create those great views at Painted Prairie, we're really on the backside of a little knoll and a hill and a slope, and that helps dissipate noise from the airport. It also helps dissipate noise from E470. But really on the noise contour, we're over a mile from the speculative line that can never be that bad, So if you go out to Painted Prairie, you honestly, most of the time, you can't ever hear an airplane.
Okay, I get this question on a weekly, if not daily basis, so I know y'all are waiting to hear. What are the plans for the future of Painted Prairie? So, Mr. Fellows, you want to tell us what we can expect in phase 2?
I love to speak in public.
I know, so I got to rein it in a little bit.
So, and I love to speak about Painted Prairie. Yeah, there are a few things coming with phase 2. If you go out to Painted Prairie today, which I hope you all will, you'll notice there are 13 scrapers on site. They should start moving dirt next week. Phase 2 and the town center begin construction next week. Woo! So a couple things that are really exciting. Phase 2 is coming. We hope that all of our same builders will be in phase 2. We'll have the same 7 product types that are in phase 1 plus 2 more product types. We're excited about that. We're going to have a linear urban park that's going to be a super cool feature, unlike anything in Denver. It'll be over half a mile long, and it'll be on the north side of 62nd Street in Painted Prairie. That's going to be really cool. We'll have a couple new cool micro parks. Another thing that I'm really excited about, we're going to start on even ahead of phase 2. We're going to begin on phase 1 of our dog park, and over time, Painted Prairie, I think, is going to build one of the coolest dog parks in the state. So we're excited about that.
That's the second most popular question I get is, where's the dog park?
Dog park is in design right now, and we're really excited about that. Tons of really fun stuff today in dog parks. And then maybe one of the biggest things that's coming that separates Painted Prairie, I think there are 3 things that separate Painted Prairie from most communities in this market area. It's the neo-traditional planning, the incredible park and trail system, but also we're going to begin moving dirt on the town center here in about a week. And that's one of the things that's going to make Painted Prairie truly unique, is it has all the benefits of a suburban environment, but it's also going to have benefits of a typically found in an urban area. So the town center's getting ready to go. We're in negotiations right now with a 350-room full-service hotel of a major flag, a 150-room boutique hotel with a major flag, 2 restaurants that'll be sitting in this urban park that's going to be the coolest thing you've ever seen. The plans of the urban park are coming out now, and it's just truly going to be one of the coolest urban parks maybe in the country.
That means your home buyers can be the cool kids.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool. We're in negotiations, LOIs with 2 restaurants that'll be housed inside the park, and one of them is going to be a Mexican-themed restaurant with a rooftop deck in the park and the phenomenal views. And then something that I'm super excited about, in phase 1 of the town center, we're going to be building an international food hall. And the genesis of this came, and it's kind of funny because it started out negatively. I was grumpy pants, but I had a meeting with the Aurora Public School District, and they were complaining about, one of the troubles they have in delivering their product is that Aurora is this incredibly diverse city. In fact, Aurora is the second most diverse large city in the United States, which is a really unusual. I wouldn't have expected that. There are 158 native foreign languages spoken by residents of Aurora. So the school district was talking about how difficult that made education for the whole, and I went home and I was kind of seething about that, and I was thinking, there are 70 million people a year going in and out of DIA. Aurora has 158 unique, distinctive foreign languages spoken in their city. Unbelievable diversity. There's got to be a pony in here somewhere, right? And so I went and met with my partner, Don Provost, with Alberta, the retail developer, and I said, why don't we look into doing an international food hall? I said, when you take somebody out to drop them off at DIA or you pick them up, where do you go for dinner? And I'm sure everybody in the room's had this experience. It's in the evening, you're either dropping somebody off or picking them up. There's nowhere to eat, right? I said, well, what if there was a food hall with 26 or 28 different ethnic foods and choices to have? You could say, hey, no matter what you're in the mood for, there's this really cool place. So fortunately, Don didn't just shut me down and talk about how crazy I was, but the food hall is under planning. There's a committee that's going to be in charge of selections, and it's made up of city council members, Chamber of Commerce members, people that are active in the community in Aurora, and people that want to participate have to be a resident of Aurora. They have to have a unique ethnic food that they're familiar with or that they cook or they're already doing maybe in a food truck or somewhere else. We're going to build a building and provide all the equipment. So somebody doesn't have to have a huge nest egg to get started. They can come join the deal. The rent is going to be a percentage rent only deal, so they don't have a minimum rent they have to pay that might put their family's finances in peril. And the committee will select these foods. People can come in and get started, and it's going to be right next to the urban park. So whether you're taking somebody to or from the airport, whether you're a resident of Aurora or wherever you live, we're going to have this super cool food hall with 26 kiosks in it, each with a different, so it's not going to be a food hall with hamburgers and pizza and donuts, those kind of choices. There it's going to be Eritrean food and Ethiopian food and Korean food and
So everybody in your car can get what they want.
Right.
I want Mexican, I want Spanish, I want
right.
the.
So we're really excited about it. So between the urban park and the hotels and the restaurants and the international food hall, the town center's coming. We start moving dirt in about a week. The town center will probably start construction of vertical properties in about a year. And
when can we go visit?
Yeah, we think that's a game changer.
Yeah, and they want to know when it's going to be, potentially we can go actually visit it in 2 years?
Well, you should be able to go out and look around. We should have all the streets in about 12 months.
Okay.
And then vertical construction will be going on maybe a little before the streets are finished.
Okay.
And buildings could be open as early as maybe January, February of 22.
Okay, thank you. So also, whether you are a seasoned or rookie broker, it's always great to get some practical advice, especially with how you can successfully help your home buyer get settled in or find a place in a neighborhood, especially Painted Prairie. Danielle, because you have had experiences on both sides as a agent as well as a builder, why don't you share some advice?
Great question. I think one of the things that we're seeing in the broker community is that this whole pandemic has really shifted the way that people see their homes and their communities. All of a sudden, they're expecting more. It's their home office, it's their home gym, it's their school, so people are really looking at things in a very different light. And I think one of the things that Chris has touched on a number of times is the true brilliance of the community and how, all of us now are staying closer to home. We're going on walks around, we're looking at the amenities where we live, we're looking at our homes totally differently. And Painted Prairie not only offers such a range of diversity of different product, but it's really their placemaking. I mean, you are in the very beginning phases of seeing something that's going to be really spectacular. And the idea that, now that we spend more and more time at home, many of us work from home, all of that, and being able to walk out of the door at the end of the day and join, some women drinking wine or whatever the case may be, doing yoga in the morning, that's really what we're trying to do here at Painted Prairie is placemake. And so I think that, as we transition to what does the new normal look like, that's going to become more and more important. And so I commend you guys and all being here today because I think you're on the forefront of something very exciting. The other thing that I'll say is, as a broker, what's better than selling new construction? I mean, it's great. You can really hand the keys over to the sales people, and I would also encourage everyone to get out and get to know our fantastic salespeople. That's always benefited me in my career in resale, is that, I'd have a new home sales professional call and say, hey, I know you were in last week and we didn't have anything that was move-in ready, but I think I'm going to get a cancellation. Do you guys want to sneak in? It gives you access to things that the rest of the people may not have, and as a broker, that's what we're really looking to do, is create worth for our buyers. And the best way to do that is get to know the community, get to know the salespeople, and sell new construction because it's awesome.
The other benefit y'all know of new construction is there's no bidding wars, right? You don't have to deal with that, so that's nice. Yeah. Claire, it kind of flows into what you were going to say for your piece of advice.
She answered it perfectly,
okay,
but
well.
I'll chime in. I think what's really important and what we train our salespeople to do when your clients walk through the door is a lot of discovery and really spend time with them and ask them a lot of questions. How do they want to live their life, right? We don't want to just take them and just, kind of force them into a floor plan. It's more, what is their lifestyle like? How do they live in their home? And that, like Danielle said, is more important now than it ever has been because we're all at home so much these days, right? So I think my best advice is just really ask your client a lot of questions and see what that lifestyle looks like to them. I think you can't go wrong with anybody, any of these builders up here. And I think we all offer a very unique product and a unique experience. So it's really just getting to know your client. We all do the same when they walk through the door. But you really can't go wrong, like Danielle said.
Like it. So speaking of getting to know, we have time for one last question. We'll have to make them kind of short answers. But to get to know you each individually, please answer the question. During the past 6 months of change, personally or professionally, what's a new tradition you've implemented? Or what is something positive you have seen out of these interesting times? Who's gonna go first?
I'll go.
Okay.
A new tradition is a margarita on the back porch. No, I'm just kidding. I've always done that.
Is it new or is it, now there's two?
No, I would say, I think something positive that's come out of these, interesting times, I think the opposites happened from what we thought was gonna happen. I think everyone was gonna be really closed off and to themselves, and I haven't experienced that. I think it's been the opposite. For me, I think everyone's gotten to know each other a little bit better, has been reaching out more communication, and that's in personal and work life. I think it's kind of forced us to build those relationships with people in a different way than we have in the past. So I think it's actually been a little bit of a good thing.
Yeah, thank you for that positive. You have one, Chris?
Yeah, so from a personal side, new tradition is family Zoom talent show, which has been very entertaining. We've been able to see our children do things that we had no idea that they could do, so that's been phenomenal. But kind of on a short-term basis, I think we've seen a lot more times with our families being at home. From a long-term perspective, though, I think one of the positive things that's coming out of the last 6 months is that businesses have realized that there are different ways to employ their workers, and there are a lot of people that are going to be able to stay at home and work from home in the coming years, long term. And I think the choices that are now available to people as to where they can live is going to really open up, and I think that's a great positive for coming out of this.
Yeah. Anyone else want to go? Yeah?
I'm happy to chime in. I think one of the things that's been really incredible to watch is that as builders, as a group, we tend to be a relatively stagnant group. We don't, there's not a ton of innovation, you don't see much over the years. However, this has really forced us to become more nimble, to become digital, to put as much information in the hands of the consumer without having to walk through the door. And I think that transformation is going to really serve all of us long term, because the more information you can get into your buyer's hands and the more that they don't have to feel like they have to, I hate buying a new car because I don't want to get out of the car and talk to a salesperson. A lot of people feel that way in terms of coming into new sales communities because it's intimidating. So the more information that we can all provide to our buyers, the better that, it is for everybody. And I think that's a real shift that we've seen here, since the pandemic has hit, is the ability to tour homes from your home computer, to get in touch with and chat, to do virtual walkthroughs. I really think that this has been a step in the right direction for the builder community.
Well, I'm going to say it. I really enjoy the traffic. There is no traffic.
Where do you live?
As a person that lives in her car for a living, you guys too, you can get anywhere in the city in 30 minutes. It's like the most incredible thing. So I'm hoping that telecommuting stays and people stay off the roads. But to Chris's point, I think that this totally changes the way that people used to buy homes, where it was location, where do I work? And now it's location, where do I want to live? Yeah. And I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome for our community, for our state, and definitely for your clients.
Did you want to share the tradition that you shared
Sure,
yesterday?
I would love to. Mine meld together. My favorite thing about this whole situation is that I had started to become an empty nester. I had 2 kids in college and a high schooler who was really active, and he wasn't around a lot. Well, COVID brought both college kids back home and reduced the radius of the high school kid a little bit. So I got to have my kids back every night around the dinner table, and that was awesome. And that led to a new tradition that came from a suggestion from Cheryl Schutte the other day. My middle kid, Casey, just turned 20 the other day. And with the idea that Cheryl gave me, at the birthday dinner, we went around the table, and the other 4 members of the family went around and took turns, and we told Casey 20 things that we loved or liked or appreciated or that were special about him.
Who
And it
doesn't love
was
that?
unbelievable how awesome it was for everybody. You know, hearing 17-year-old little brother have to tell his older brother that he loved him and that he was a great brother or what it was just awesome. And my wife started to cry and Casey started to cry. And it was, but honestly, you know, who doesn't love to hear the things that people think about him, but we don't all say enough. So Cheryl, awesome tradition you started at my family. Thank you, but it was great.
Yeah, it's a good one. Nash, did you want to say anything?
Pineapple.
Okay.
I identify with the pineapple. No, I would say tradition-wise, on a personal level, my wife and I, we moved into our home in Littleton 2 years ago, and we take our dogs for a walk every night previously, and, you know, we were cordial to our neighbors, but now we're really living in our community. We know so many neighbors, and a lot of our friends are seeing the same thing, that maybe it was just a cordial, hey, how you doing? Now we know their names and their kids' names and their dogs' names, and you're really getting a sense of community. I think people are starved to be able to talk to people right now, and you're realizing that you have people right next door, and it's really great. On a professional side, my wife's an interior designer, and it's really interesting to see what her clients are really looking for now that they've been living in their homes for the last 6 months, and really what they don't like about them. It's going to be really interesting to see where design goes from this. Well, we've touched on it a bunch, and you live and you work and you play and you work out at home, and what's that going to look like to flex spaces and outdoor living and everything in between. So it's kind of an interesting time to be in this industry.
Absolutely. That community, it just goes into what we've been talking about as well. That's what people are looking for: outdoor space, better home, and a place to be able to have community and get together. Okay, so we are out of town. I'm trying to keep y'all on time as well with respect for that. But how lucky are we to have learned so much from these fabulous, engaging panelists today? I really want to thank y'all for your time and your input and the knowledge that you've shared. We're really lucky to hear from y'all today. If you have follow-up questions for them, please grab their cards. They're back there, and you can shoot them an email to ask them any other questions. I also want to thank all of you for being here today, because this wouldn't even be possible if you were not here today, so thank you for coming. Your check-in code is neo-traditional. One word, all lowercase. So make sure you check in for the event today. You can start to make your way towards your designated sales center, builder sales center at Painted Prairie, which was assigned to you via the map that you were given when you checked in. For social distancing help, we will have ambassadors on site with purple shirts that will help direct you to your designated first and subsequent models. The lunch will be at your first model stop when you get over there. Make sure that you check in at each of the models that you go visit. Again, you're earning points for awards, recognitions, prizes. And also, a couple last-minute announcements. Mr. Fellows and I will be presenting for BRC, their virtual meeting on Tuesday. We're going to go more in depth about Painted Prairie, the development, the features, all of that, and then he is going to talk about metro districts, which we know is a big question topic. So make sure to register if you would like to jump on and learn more about that. I also have received a lot of requests to present at your local brokerages and firms, and I would love to be invited to yours, so please let me know if that's something of interest to you. And as well, I am hosting free, fun social events for brokerages, smaller groups, your teams, or just a nice little group of 10 or so. I have a menu of options. We can do yoga in the park, we can do sipping and painting, cornhole tournaments, so many options. So please come to me if you're interested in something like that. Thank you again for coming. I look forward to seeing you over at the community. Let me know if you do have any questions afterwards. Thank you for coming.